All right, everyone, welcome to another video of Full Speed Impulse, and today we are putting the big bore in our Klx110l, and we got a cam for it too, and we're gonna get right at it. So this is our Klx110l, and that is our mechanic right there, just showing up right on time. Ready to get at it, buddy?
Hey.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Like the system we got going on here? No working on the knees today, buddy. Table's putting in all the work for us.
That.
I hate working on the ground. So we gotta get the jug off and all that stuff, exhaust, intake, all that stuff. But Nick's definitely anxious to get at it, and so am I. All right, getting ready for 23. All right, so we stripped all the plastic off. We got the exhaust off. We just pulled our carb off, and we are working on the oil lines right now on this side. So pretty much removing everything should be pretty common sense. Whether how much you take off will be and how easy the job goes. Obviously went for to be able to really get at this thing. It takes 2 seconds to take plastic off. Now, do you just remove the cam tensioner, or you just?
Yeah, you could just remove it, but when you put it on, there's a process to put it back on.
Okay. I believe Nick's gonna be getting that folding table in his garage next time. Put some anchors on the ceiling there, so you got some straps always hanging down. Woo! All right.
Pry it up in fucking something, man.
Oh, there's be some hurt comments in there, in a section on this video. Perfect. All right.
Don't do it like that.
Yeah, don't do it like that. That was it worked though. What's the worst that could happen? Snap that
break that decompression thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little baby cam in there. Oh yeah. It's like you have two 10 mil bolts in here. You can see the notches in the jug here. 82 hours. Woo. I should pull that front fender up.
You turn it more now.
Sound good there for a second. Yeah. All right, this is the good stuff here that so I get those wrist pins out.
Yeah.
How's the piston looking on?
I mean, it's got wear on it, but it doesn't look bad. Even your cylinder doesn't look.
I think the compression was still pretty top notch. I think it was at about 150.
It
last time I checked it, which was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it wore down nice. I mean, it's got wear, you know, but it's still good. I like it.
All right, so piston doesn't look too bad. Nick said the jug looks pretty usable still. Last time we checked, our compression was still at 150 and all that, which was about a year ago. And we ran her a few times, but not too much. So looking pretty good. What's that there too?
You should be able to see the timing mark in this hole.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like any other pin. You just kind of root at it till you get it, kind of thing.
Yep.
Most
shoots out and hits you in the face.
Yeah.
Goes right down in the engine.
Well, you're always hoping that you get some fresh ones with your new kit. Oh, okay. Because yeah, you only have to take one side out, because then you push the wrist pin through. I'm curious how they do those big bore kits, like the 170s and these things. They say you gotta grind out like a part of the case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
You probably gotta grind.
You think it's just
like right here, so the skirt goes through or something.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know how intense the grinding is, so I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah.
But man, like a 170 something kit in these things, that'd be insane.
Joe, I'm telling you, this 140, you're gonna be like,
Different world. Piston.
Got rags
Oh yeah.
And fresh oil or assembly lube if you got that.
Yeah, I got assembly lube. Oh, that's our camshaft.
Oh, you got a camshaft?
Yeah, we got camshaft. Well, pre-assembly lube in there. He's got his clips in there. And show them what you showed me. So you want to put that clip pretty much on the top like that, just for when the piston's, would you say, swiveling in a sense?
No, when it goes up and down, the center of mass, you want to be on either the top or the bottom so it doesn't spin and pop out.
Okay, yeah, that's a good reason, because you do not want that popping out when you're revving that thing up at 18,000 RPMs. All right, since your head's obviously going to be out, make sure you guys clean this up really good. Not only, your carbon build up here, make sure you clean around here so you put that fresh gasket on there. It's going to seat up real nice. Nick already really got at it, guys. He got the piston in here, and just like we said, as far as you can see how the gap's a little bit closer to the top or the bottom. Just don't have it to the side, and you'll be good to go. And then we're going to look up the orientation right now of the piston as far as how the rings are going to go in there. Is there ever a preference of order or not really? It don't matter. As far as putting them on?
Yeah, you got to do the bottom ones first. Once you get them on, you can't slide the other rings over the top of them.
Because they said the thinnest one is for the top. Is that pretty standard on any 4-stroke piston?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
They usually have like a chamfer on the edge of them, and that negates which one's the top ring and not. And sometimes they just have like a letter or like a punch notch in them.
To indicate that it's the top ring?
Yep.
I didn't know what you were doing at first, because I seen you putting it in those grooves, but that's to squish the... Is that just a spacer? Is that what they were calling that? The squiggly thing?
No.
What's that?
That's not a spacer. That's part of the oil ring. I mean, like, technically, yeah, it's a spacer.
Well, that's just what they seemed like they were calling it in the thing between the two rings. They were calling that the spacer. So got the 2 rings in there. Now is the bottom, is that considered like is that an oil ring? Like you said, that's what you said?
Yeah.
And then the other top 2 are more like your compression?
Yeah. Typically go up.
Oh yeah, there she is. R. If they have the letters on them, they are compression rings.
No, it just tells you which way it goes up.
Oh, okay. So the letter side up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got you.
Or a punch mark, or sometimes they put a dot of paint.
Okay. So how do I indicate which one is actually the first ring? Is it going back to the thicker and thin, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, on this bike, apparently it's just the thick thin,
Okay.
but on other bikes, it's
Yeah.
the edging on them.
All right, so as you guys seen, there wasn't really a process as far as taking a tensioner out, but when you're putting everything back together, there is a little bit of process.
Leave the tension, you got to put a small flathead inside there, and you tighten it down, and it
Oh,
sucks the plunger
yep.
up. So then once the plunger's sucked all the way up, you got to put it in, tighten your bolts, and then you release the plunger, and it automatically puts the chain at the tension.
What you guys didn't see also is Nick cleaned up that jug real nice. Got all the previous oil or debris or whatever that was in there from, it being coming from whoever you bought it from. And then you just put a nice little thin, layer of whatever motor oil you got laying around, and that'll just help the process of hopefully the rings sliding in there nice and smooth. And then as far as your bottom gasket on that, it only goes on one way, so it is dummy proof. So
Don't mess it up.
don't mess it up or you are a big dummy. I don't know if that's taking a picture or not, but that's like action shot. It's like goods right there.
It's like real nice, like.
Yeah. Delicate part.
We're past the delicate part. We're good. Try and drive around even. Watch that gasket.
All right, so we're gonna start removing the cam out of the head now, and we're gonna get these 2 Phillips screws out here. That is gonna be on a number 3 bit, and we're gonna use our impact driver to hopefully reduce damage. Definitely we're on damage control. Don't use a hand screwdriver. All right, so we had to well, I guess we'll know here in a second. But I had to remove the rocker arms, guys, to get the cam out. Try to keep everything organized as far as your intake side and your exhaust side. Oh, there it is. Came fresh out after all that.
Whoop, there it is. Cool.
So that was the deal. So only downside in this, which is not a big deal, guys. You're obviously in it this far. You're just gonna have to readjust the valves, which, heck, you know, never touched the valves on this thing anyways. So it's not a bad thing after doing a little performance upgrade to make sure your valves are in spec. All right, so if you have a 2017 or newer, when you get this cam from TB, it's gonna say 02 to 09 on it. And what they do is they send you this extra gear right here, which is gonna be pretty much an adapter to make it work on your 2017 and newer, which is good. My only complaint is I've seen BBR and they haven't had a 2017 newer cam in stock ever. Like, I've never seen it. I constantly look. I personally have never seen one. Maybe they're out there. I don't know, but I haven't found them. But it just makes me think, like, okay, like BBR is top notch. Like, I'll go with BBR every time. TB is a good company for sure. I just hope that they're not just pumping this cam out for us 2017 and newer, and it might not be the best performance or as far as mock up to our head, because on our 2017 and newer, we do have a little bit different style head, I believe, than the older bikes. So that's my only little concern on it. I'm sure there's still good gains from it, hopefully. But like anything I say, like, you're not going to notice big gains from a cam. You're not going to notice big gains from just the carb or just from a rev box. But once we start piecing all this stuff together, so you start getting really good performance gains and differences in your bike and all that. So let's get back to the build. So here's food for thought, guys. But we got our new cam in there. But since it doesn't have a decompression lever on there, you don't have to put all that jazz going on. So kind of a, well, we'll see. But the whole point of your decompression lever is to make it a lot easier to start, especially if you only got a kickstart and all that. So obviously now you don't have that. It's gonna be harder to kick. It's gonna be harder to start, which hopefully is not too big of a deal. We'll see. I mean, it's just a, well, it's not 110 anymore. it's a 143. But you'd be surprised, I guess, what those decompression levers can do for you.
Be lined up with the timing mark.
Oh, okay.
It should be like that. That makes sense. But could not be.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, you could look real quick, just to make sure.
Okay, so I see the line. All right, I see the line. So what's that mean?
You want that right in the middle of the hole right here. And when it's lined up in the middle of the hole, you're at top dead center with the crank.
Okay.
So once that's lined up at top dead center, you can't move it, and then you put the cam gear on.
Okay, and that's what we were using the back wheel to bump. That's what you were looking for.
Yep.
Okay.
And then so the cam gear, the notch on it right here, it's gonna go straight up. It's gonna line up with this tab right
And
here.
when you say straight up, just the...
Oh, straight.
Right. So when he says straight up,
forward.
it means the top of the motor. So that'll actually be to your side right here. Just like that. If you're tightening your rim on your vehicle, you don't just tighten one side to 192 inches or 16 foot-pounds. Kind of go, I assume you're going to go cross pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So usually when you're doing heads or something like that, like as far as when we do it on vehicles, you break it down to like 3 or 4 sections. So if like 16 foot-pounds was your maximum, you'd start out and go around and maybe do each one at 4 or 5 foot-pounds or something like that. And then go back around, bump it up to 8, do them all 8, 10, something like that. But you get the point. Just don't give them the full beams right away.
Always test it by hand before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it doesn't bind up. Because if you hit the valve by hand, you'll feel it and you can stop before you
Start to do some
have
real
a
damage.
catastrophic failure.
On that flywheel, when you have that mark that you're looking at, there'll be a T and then there'll be another line that'll have an F on it. Put it on your T mark. Is what you're going to line it up with. All right, so if you did a cam, you're gonna, even if you didn't do a cam, not a bad thing to check, but get a 5,000 to get your feeler gauge out. Just double check your valves, make sure they're right. Back that nut off, make sure it's a little loose. That's how you'll be able to put your feeler gauge in there and zip it down on it. Kind of tighten it up a little bit, and then just kind of go in and out again and just double check. But yeah, so put your feeler gauge in there, make sure she's good, and just tighten that nut down when you're done. Everything's said and done. And just go with the old Guten tight. Don't go crazy. Snug her up. All right, we're starting to get down to the nitty gritty, getting the oil lines back on. We're gonna get the carb tuner back on there. And timing, that's all set. Make sure you are at top dead center when you're doing your valves. All right, first fire up, choke is on, gas will be on here in a second. As of right now, not adjusting anything. When we fired it up, it's bogging super heavy up top. Like it doesn't even, it's extremely unhappy. So we got to get in there, fatten up the jets. Seems like on the bottom end it might be okay. We're going to see what our pilot is at and our main's at, and see what we're going to take the steps of bumping those up. But we definitely have to bump up that main quite a bit now that we got that 143 in there and we got a hot cam in there. All right, everyone. So we had to go back to our video here and do some editing because we did the wrong timing on this thing. So your timing mark is supposed to be 9 o'clock going this way. And then you'll see in here, you put it on the T mark, which we were right about that. And not all your KLX have this little eye hole here, by the way. So some of you guys will have to take off the cover. So there's your mark there. And right above it will be a T. And about a 1/4 inch counterclockwise from that, be about right here, I believe, will be another mark that will have an F on it. And then I also think there is also another mark on there that doesn't have any letters. So make sure that there is a T. And for us here, we have the simple plug. Take that out, put it in neutral, and use your ratchet. And it is super easy using that route. We had our tensioner here also. You could either take the bolts out to have all your slack, or there's just the little spring in there and you use a tiny little flathead. You might have to like shift your tank up a little bit, but you screw it all the way down to lock it in. And then pretty much when you go back in there, you just kind of give it a little wiggle and it should release it, and you'll definitely see. But make sure you release that to get your tension back on your chain, and then recheck your timing and cycle the motor a couple times, either by hand here or even with a Kickstarter, just to make sure that your timing marks stay the same and all that, and that everything feels right. But we're pretty sure everything's gonna be pretty good now. We got this all set up. As you can see, spoiler alert in the video, we are having so many issues. We thought it was the carburetor at first because thought we were good on the timing, but we read the wrong thing. We got 26 mil carb on this thing. Obviously, you'll see in the later parts of this video that it'll still have the 22 mil carb, us finishing this video off, but we'll post another video on the 26 mil carb install here, because there was a couple little knickknacks with that thing too that we're still figuring out. All right, everyone, so after like few days of shenanigans here and a new carb tuner and everything else, we finally got this Klx110 dialed in. We had our timing off a little bit, but as you've seen in the video a little bit before this, we got all our marks lined up right now, and she sounds good. She still has a little tick, but that is, I believe, the noise just from putting these aftermarket cams in. We've ran multiple TB big bore kits and all that, and our XR70s, and then our buddy's got one in his DRZ 110, and they all sound the same. All our timing's on spot and everything, so it's definitely good now. Quick fire up. Running good. Sounds good. She's really crisp on the throttle. All right, but that pretty much wraps up this video, guys. Like, it was just a simple mistake we made as far as we looked up information real quick. It was the wrong information as far as where to put that cam gear position. And like I said 3 o'clock, should have been 9 o'clock. So that threw everything off that we were doing. If it wasn't for that, we would have been golden on this job and all that. So it is what it is. You know, we learned. So, which is a good thing because we got another Klx110 right behind us to build. So if you have any questions or any comments and all that, or if you want to hit me up like or say like, yeah, you know, our TB cam did the same thing, or putting a race head on, or any stuff like that, you know, like, yeah, it makes a, you know, valve train a little noisier. You know, we have 450s and stuff like that, so we're used to stuff like this, you know, getting a little bit more performance. But that's it for today's video, guys, and we'll see you later.